So, like, think of it this way: like, to keep the commandments, to follow commandments, is a basic guideline to avoid sin. So, like, do not commit murder, which, in another way, for to God means to not hate. So, like, if you hate, then you've committed murder in your heart. Do not commit adultery. The first commandment, I think, or at least the primary commandment that is coming to my mind, is to love God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. Actually, that's a commandment from the New Testament, Matthew chapter whatever. I can't even think of the name of it. Jesus gave that commandment. And he said that because the first, actually, pretty much all of those commandments, in a way, is summed up by loving God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. So to fear God is to, I mean, yeah, be afraid of him, sure, but to realize that he's much bigger than any one of us. He's much bigger than me. He's much bigger than you, and he's much bigger than, well, anything. I mean, he made everything, right? And so with that mindset, I don't have any flint. Do I have any gravel? I do not. So with that mindset, it's important to realize that we're just a tiny speck in this universe. And we sometimes forget that. We sometimes think that we are much bigger than what we let on, but we're really not. I mean, if you was to go outside of the world and really think in terms of the universe, we're really small and we're really insignificant. And the point that, going back to Ecclesiastes, which is the main point, going back to the point where everything is meaningless, wisdom, pleasure, wealth, your job, I don't know, literally anything, going to school for some of us, going to work for some of us, can be meaningless. And the point is that, you know, if I was let's say I was an architect and I built a building, like, who's going to remember who built that? Probably no one. People are going to go in, generations are going to come and go, and they're going to go into that building. And, you know, that's that. I didn't see any gravel. Is there any gravel? I just need some gravel. No gravel over here. I guess I'll go back in the cave. So with that said, let's say I build a video game, right? Sure, a lot of people are going to know about me. They're going to know about the studio. But probably 85, 90% of gamers are not going to really care about that studio. And so they're only going to care about the game. Much like going back to the example of the architect, like if I was an architect and I built a building, like, who's going to really care about who built that building? You're still going to use it more than likely, depending on what that building is. And over time, well, that building may not even be there forever. It might get taken down for some other purpose. It'll get old. It'll start to wear and tear. Literally anything could happen. Here's how Ecclesiastes works. It's meant to humble us. And while, yes, it says that everything in life is meaningless, that doesn't mean that we should treat life meaningless, right? I mean, we're human. We have certain abilities that other people won't have. We have passions. We have things that we love. And Ecclesiastes really sums this up perfectly. And let me grab my Bible, because now this is where the verses come in handy. In Ecclesiastes, if I can find it. If I can find it real quick, maybe. Make some room on my desk. Ecclesiastes, and it's towards the end of the book. It's chapter 11. And this is after the speaker is saying how, you know, everything is life, everything in life is meaningless, how there could be emptiness in possessions, like how possessions of themselves can be meaningless, how there could be emptiness in work, on how sometimes that can be meaningless. He even says, like, everything is meaningless, everything is futile in my Bible. Like, that's the first chapter. How there's limitations on wisdom. Like, after the speaker got done saying all of that, in chapter 11, he goes on to say this, and the point of it is to invest in your life. In verse 8, and that's where I'm going to pick up. Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 8 says, "Indeed, if someone lives many years, let him rejoice in them all, and let him remember the days of darkness, since they will be many. All that comes is futile." Well, yes, that's the case. But in verse 9, he says, "Rejoice, young person, while you are young, and let your heart be glad in the days of your youth, and walk in the ways of your heart, and in the desire of your eyes. But know that for all these things God will bring you to judgment." Verse 10, he says, "Remove sorrow from your heart, and put away pain from your flesh, because youth and the prime of life, they're fleeting." And then, going on a little bit further, the author gives his opinion on the matter, which kind of goes with those verses I just read. He says, "When all has been heard, the conclusion of the matter is this: fear God and keep his commands, because this is for all of humanity. For God will bring every act to judgment, including every hidden thing, whether good or evil." For you young people out there, it's important to remember that, you know, there will be a day when you become 18, 16, 12, whatever, 21, 22. I'm 22 myself. 25, even 30. 30's still young in my eyes. When it comes down to this, don't let the world grab hold of you, and don't worry about it, because video games and whatnot is meaningless. Like, I'm streaming right now, in a way, preaching, right? And, you know, yes, today I just started this channel, but there will come a day when this channel will no longer exist. There will come a day when I will have to rightfully turn off this channel, either move on with my life, or I might die, who knows? And we're not guaranteed every day. And so, why waste time worrying about today? The world is so fixated on trying to make us worry. That's not the goal of the government. That's not the goal of the news media outlets or any other individual. I say that it's the goal of the world to do that is because we as human beings, we constantly think. And we constantly worry and think about the next step and things that's going to happen. And I argue, based on the teachings of Ecclesiastes, why worry about it? I mean, it's okay to plan. I love playing video games. So here I am with my hands, you know, playing video games. I love streaming. I do a lot of streaming for a local radio station. But here I am, streaming content on YouTube for you, the person that is watching this right now. So why worry about it? Just do what you love. The point of the matter is, yes, fear God, keep his commands, but don't be afraid to do what you love, right? Don't be afraid to seek out your passion. If you want to be a movie director in Hollywood, chase it. Chase that dream. You want to be a YouTuber? Chase it. If you want to be, I don't know, an NFL player for a football team, whatever, pursue that. That's an awesome dream. You want to go into real estate? Do that, right? Do whatever is on your heart, because those are opportunities created by God for you. God gave us free will. And so by free will, we have things that we love. We have things that we don't like. I'm not going to pursue the things that I don't like. And I'm definitely not going to sit in my bed every day and wallow in self-pity because I don't think it's worth going after it. I think it's worth going after it because there's things that I want out of life. And for me, what I want out of life in some cases matches up with God, which is why this channel was made. It's also why I'm a youth pastor. What do you want out of life? And what do you want to do with it? There will come a day when you'll be 16. Sweet. But there will be a day when you're 16 years of age will become 17 years of age. So don't take for granted on how young you are. If you're in 8th grade, sweet. By the time you get done with 8th grade, you're going to have 4 more years of high school left. Okay? You just got a new job at someplace, internship, whatever. There will be a day when you'll no longer be an intern. So are you prepared for that? Are you prepared to move on with that? Are you prepared to give that up? Sure, you might love it now. Got that sweet fancy car? Awesome. There'll come a day when you're going to have to give that up and you're going to have to give something new, which for some of us, we're okay with that, but not for everyone. Point is, don't focus so much on the world. Focus on yourself. And be prepared to move on. Don't hold on to things. And if you're Christian, a really good rule book to follow is the Bible, right here. The Bible. God. Fear God, keep his commands. Pray to God every day, every chance you can get. And then seek what you want to love. Because God gave you that love for a reason.